All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're tackling that incredibly frustrating reality of a struggling car AC. And, well, the goal here is to turn you into a bit of a diagnostic detective. I mean, we've all been there, right? You open your car door on a blistering summer afternoon, and bam, this absolute wave of heat hits you. You crank the AC to the max, and you just sit there, sweating, while the vents blow this utterly miserable lukewarm air. It is the worst. But rather than just crossing our fingers and hoping it miraculously fixes itself, today we're going to unpack exactly what your car's climate control system is actually trying to tell you, using some top-tier insights drawn directly from professional European auto repair specialists. Okay, first things first, let's bust a massive myth right out of the gate. Your AC? It doesn't actually make cold air. I know, it sounds totally counterintuitive, but it's true. Instead, it uses a pressurized refrigerant cycle to essentially absorb the heat from inside your cabin and push it out into the environment. So think of it less like an ice maker and more like a heat mover. Understanding this one fundamental concept completely flips how we look at cooling issues, because if the system is struggling, it simply means something is interrupting that delicate process of transferring heat. Here's our investigative agenda for today. We'll start with the extreme heat factor, look at 6 reasons for weak AC, decode your specific symptoms, cover why your car's generation really matters, and finally, we'll debunk the great refrigerant recharge myth.
Section 1. The extreme heat factor, or why summer is the ultimate stress test. So before we even start pointing fingers at mechanical parts, we have to look at the sheer environmental load your car is fighting before the engine even turns on. Take a place like Dallas, Texas. You're dealing with roughly 20 days a year at or above a blistering 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And when you park a closed vehicle in direct sunlight under those brutal conditions, it creates an absolutely immense initial cooling load. Your car essentially turns into a giant greenhouse. The seats, the dash, the glass, they all soak up that solar energy and then keep radiating that stored heat long after you start the engine and crank the AC.
And these environmental elements, they really compound into a massive attack on your system. Think about it. Your condenser, which sits at the very front of the car, has to release heat into air that's already over 100 degrees. There is barely any temperature difference to work with there. Add to that the reduced natural airflow you get when you're stuck in stop-and-go traffic, the super high blower and compressor loads, and high humidity literally forcing the system to work overtime just to remove moisture. Plus, those elevated underhood temperatures. Basically, what this all means is that a marginal AC setup that perfectly survived last summer, it might easily fail this summer if even a single tiny component has weakened.
Moving on to Section 2, the suspects. 6 reasons your AC is weak.
Now, if the weather is just a stress test, these are the actual components failing it. We've got 6 main mechanical suspects here. First, a low refrigerant charge, which, by the way, almost always indicates a leak because refrigerant isn't something your car naturally consumes like fuel. Second, your condenser might be blocked by road debris or a busted fan, meaning it just can't release heat. Third, the compressor itself could be failing to create the right pressure. Fourth, you could have weak cabin airflow, maybe from a clogged filter. Fifth, a mispositioned temperature door could literally be mixing hot engine air into your perfectly cold air. And finally, you've got highly complex electronic or software faults that could just be preventing the whole system from kicking on in the first place.
Okay, here's a super powerful trick to instantly cut that suspect list right in half. Just pay attention to the physical airflow. On one hand, if you feel normal, strong airflow blowing out of the vents, but the air is warm, you're almost certainly looking at a system fault. Things like a refrigerant leak, a bad compressor, or a condenser issue. But on the flip side, if the air coming out is icy cold, but it's barely trickling out of the vents, even when the fan is on maximum, that points straight to a restricted cabin filter, a failing blower motor, or some kind of air path blockage. It's such a simple check, but man, is it effective.
Section 3. Decoding your AC symptoms. Playing the diagnostic detective.
Let's move into the active investigation phase. What's truly fascinating here is how directly your physical experience in the driver's seat maps to specific failing parts. This symptom mapping guide is absolutely crucial. You're going to want to remember this. For example, if your car blows freezing cold while you're flying down the highway, but instantly turns into a sauna when you stop at a red light, you should immediately suspect a condenser airflow issue, like a broken electric cooling fan. If the driver's side is freezing but the passenger side is roasting, well, that's not a refrigerant leak. That points right to a failed temperature door actuator. Hear a hissing noise behind the dash? Classic low refrigerant flow. And if the cooling magically fixes itself when you turn the car off and back on, yeah, you're likely dealing with an intermittent electronic sensor or a software glitch.
Section 4. The twist. Why car generations matter.
Because honestly, treating every AC system like it's exactly the same is a massive mistake. Look at how rapidly this technology evolves, using the Mercedes-AMG C as a prime example. The diagnostic approach a mechanic takes completely changes based on the generation of the car sitting in the bay. An older W204 generation, that mostly faces physical wear and tear. Dried out rubber seals, aging hoses, gradual leaks. But step up to the W205 generation, and the issue might not even be mechanical. There's literally a factory technical bulletin for an October 2018 software update that fixes an intermittent cooling loss. And then you get to the newest W206. That thing is a 671 horsepower plug-in hybrid. Its climate control is fully integrated into a high-voltage architecture. So trying to perform a generic, old-school AC service on that without specialized high-voltage safety qualifications, that's not just wrong, it's incredibly dangerous.
Which brings us to Section 5, the false solution. Debunking the refrigerant recharge myth.
Knowing how complex these systems have become brings us to a major DIY trap we absolutely need to bust right now. Go to literally any auto parts store in the middle of summer, and you'll see entire aisles full of those DIY AC recharge cans. A lot of drivers think, hey, I'll just add some more refrigerant and top it off. But remember what we talked about earlier? Refrigerant isn't consumed. If it's low, that guarantees there's a leak somewhere. Simply dumping more refrigerant into the system without precisely measuring what's already in there, that can violently overpressurize the lines, blow out the seals, and cause massive, destructive damage. At best, it's a temporary Band-Aid that completely conceals a much bigger problem.
And professional service isn't just a strong suggestion here, it's actually a federal mandate. The EPA strictly dictates that automotive refrigerant must be properly recovered using advanced equipment so it doesn't just vent into the atmosphere. It literally has to be recycled or reclaimed before being charged back into a vehicle. A real professional diagnosis involves pulling out all the old refrigerant, measuring it down to the exact ounce, vacuum testing the whole system for leaks, and then recharging it to the precise factory spec. So yeah, just adding a little more in your driveway, it really doesn't cut it anymore.
So when should you actually call in the pros? Well, you should really prompt an expert inspection if you start noticing any of these patterns. Please don't wait for the system to blow completely hot air. A minor reduction in cooling, like the air feeling just a bit warmer than it did last month, or cooling fading progressively as you drive, or catching those weird hissing noises, that is often the very first sign of a slow leak or a weakening component. Catching it early allows for a precise diagnosis based on real evidence, rather than, making a desperate, hugely expensive guess when the entire system goes down in the middle of July.
So, armed with all the insights from this explainer, you are officially no longer at the mercy of the heat. You know how to test the airflow, you know exactly what it means when it only cools on the highway, and you definitely know why grabbing that DIY recharge can is a terrible idea. My question for you is this: the next time you find yourself baking in a hot parked car, will you know exactly how to act as the diagnostic detective and decode what your vehicle is trying to tell you? Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive. Stay cool out there, and I will catch you on the next explainer.